All right, let's get right into it. If you're pregnant, I'm sure you've heard all about how much protein you should be eating every day. But what if I told you that just hitting that number isn't the full picture? Not even close. We're going to talk about a really common mistake that so many people make and dig into when you eat your protein might just be the real game changer for you and your baby.
So take a look at this. Does that column on the left look kind of familiar? Be honest. This is a pattern that dietitians see in their clinics all the time. A super light start to the day, maybe a salad for lunch that's low on protein, and then you try to make up for it all with this giant protein-heavy dinner. People call it backloading. Now compare that to the day on the right. The total protein might be exactly the same, but you can see how it's spread out is totally different. And this brings us to the big question, right? You might be looking at that first example and thinking, hey, as long as I get all my protein in by the end of the day, what's the big deal? And you know what? It's a totally fair question. It seems logical. But it turns out our bodies, and especially the placenta, don't really work like a big storage unit. It's not like you can just drop off all the supplies at 7 p.m. and call it a day. There's something much more interesting going on.
Okay, so there are 3 huge reasons why spreading that protein out is so important during pregnancy. First, it helps keep your blood sugar stable. Second, it helps tame those wild hunger pangs and cravings. And third, and this one is absolutely crucial, it makes sure there's a steady, constant supply of building blocks for your growing baby. Let's break down each one.
First up, the blood sugar roller coaster. And yeah, it can really feel like that sometimes. During pregnancy, it's totally normal for your body to become a little more insulin resistant. But what that means is you're way more likely to get those big energy spikes followed by those awful crashes, especially after you eat a meal that's mostly carbs.
And this chart just shows it perfectly. When you eat carbs all by themselves, like just a piece of fruit for breakfast, you can get that big red spike. You feel great for a minute, and then, bam, the crash hits and you're exhausted. But look at the green bar. When you pair those same carbs with some protein, that protein slows everything down. It softens that blood sugar response, giving you a much more stable, gentle curve. And that means steady, reliable energy for you. No more roller coaster.
Okay, on to our second point, which is all about taming those intense cravings. We all know pregnancy hunger is a force to be reckoned with. It can feel really overwhelming. Well, think of protein as your best friend in this department. Here's the deal. Protein is incredible at promoting what's called satiety, which is just that wonderful feeling of being full and satisfied. When you include a decent amount of protein with every meal and snack, you're sending these strong signals to your brain that say, hey, we're good here, we're full. This is what helps stop that constant desire to graze on junk food later in the day. And now, we get to what is probably the most important reason of all, making sure your baby has a constant, steady supply of nutrients. This is really where we see why that backloading style of eating just doesn't work. The placenta is an amazing, hardworking organ, but it needs our help to do its job best. See, your body doesn't just pack protein away in a closet for later. It breaks it down into these little building blocks called amino acids. And the placenta is constantly, actively pulling these amino acids from your bloodstream to deliver to your baby. Think of it like a factory's conveyor belt. It's designed to handle a steady stream of packages all day long. It's not designed for one giant, massive shipment to be dumped on it right before closing time. A steady supply is key.
I just love this quote. Because after all that science, it can feel a little intimidating, right? But here's the good news. This isn't about some crazy, restrictive diet. As dietitian Melanie McGrath says, it's about making small, simple changes to the structure of your day. That's it. So empowering.
So let's get practical. How do you actually do this stuff? Let's put together a little action plan with some super simple swaps you can start making like tomorrow.
This is all about boosting what you're already doing. Instead of just that coffee or fruit for breakfast, swirl in some Greek yogurt. Tossing a hard-boiled egg or a scoop of chickpeas on your salad, that makes a world of difference. And if you have a meat aversion, no problem. Lentils in your pasta sauce or beans in your soup are amazing protein sources. Seriously, even just adding a slice of cheese can help spread things out.
And let's not forget about snacks. Snacks are your secret weapon for keeping that conveyor belt moving between meals. So instead of just grabbing an apple, grab an apple and a handful of almonds, a little cup of yogurt, a hard-boiled egg you prepped earlier, a small chunk of cheese. These are all so easy and so effective.
So as we finish up, I want to leave you with this one question. Don't try to change everything at once. That's just overwhelming. Just think about it. What is one small swap you can make tomorrow to time your protein just a little bit better? Is it going to be adding some nuts to your afternoon snack? Or maybe tossing an egg on your salad?
That one little change is the perfect first step to having better energy for you and providing that beautiful, steady supply of nutrients for your baby.